to come to you very quickly with a story time on how I got here to Southern California. I do have a video called How Did I Get Here from Privileged to Homeless, where I talk about how I ended up living in this car. And now I want to tell you how I ended up living in this car in Southern California. On April 26th, 2019, myself and my little dog were locked out of my house illegally by a real estate agent at the behest of my grandmother's daughter, who was acting and pretending she was my grandmother. She had stolen her identity, and she said that I was a tenant and that she wanted me evicted. Now, because I had absolutely no support from my family in any way, I ended up having to just leave town and live in a car. I had no other avenues, and nobody was willing to help me save my house or to give me a place to stay. I stayed with a friend for one night, and then I left town, headed for Joshua Tree, California, where I intended to clear my head because I was under intense attacks. This woman, my grandmother's daughter, was like a stalker, like a psycho stalker, and she just kept stalking the house. She kept sending letters, she kept sending notices, she kept cutting off. By the end of it, I didn't even have power or heat. She even turned off the water, which you're not even supposed to do, even in a house that's just sitting there. You're not supposed to turn the water off. She went really crazy because she was very, very jealous of myself and my grandmother, and she's actually a psychopath. And so is her brother, my father. But that's beside the point. We'll talk about that later. And so I needed to decompress. I needed to heal my spirit and my body. And so I went to a place that I knew had healing properties, which is Joshua Tree, California. And we stayed there for a few weeks, camping, dry camping, out at various sites. And I write about it in the book. It's a lot of fun. I met a really cool guy who was a young explorer back in the day, and he took me all through Joshua Tree into places where I never would have gone on my own. And Clementine and I and this guy hiked around, and it was really cool. And it's a really cool story. After that, we left and we came to Long Beach, California, and we stayed in Long Beach for a few weeks. And after Long Beach, we went to Compton, California for a little while to stay with a friend. It was just a couple of days, and then after that, we headed to San Diego, where there is amazing stories from San Diego. One of them is called Special Ops. And it is about an interaction that I have with a military guy who I believe was sent to surveil me. After that, we left San Diego and we embarked on a 7-month journey throughout Southern California. We drove around all over the place. We went to Lake Castaic, I think that's how you say it, Paris, and Lake Elsinore. We went as far up into the Angeles Mountains as my car would take me. We traveled through San Bernardino County and the San Fernando Valley, and we went all the way down almost to Baja California, past San Diego. And we really, really did have a lot of fun. And then after a while, it did start to get too hot. Oddly enough, it gets too warm in Southern California in like August, September, October. Those are really the warmest months. And so when that happened, I ended up looking for the closest place that I could get to with the best weather that seemed like it had like the amenities that I was looking for, like grocery stores nearby or whatever it was. At this time, I didn't even know about using the gym to shower. And this was a part of the period where I didn't even have a shower for a long time. And it was a lot of fun, and we settled down in Huntington Beach for a little while. A couple of weeks into just sitting still in one place, I started to go stir crazy, and I made an ill-fated decision to try and get back to Las Vegas to get some stuff that I didn't need to get anyway. And it ended up really messing up my car very badly. So it's a really great story that I tell in the book, and the chapter is called Pillar of Salt. And that title is based on the story of Lot and his wife and how you're not supposed to look back. And I did try to go back, and I almost turned into a pillar of salt. And so I had a choice to make. I was at a crossroads. And so I ended up coming back to Huntington Beach, and the car would not make it on the freeway. For the next 5 years, I wasn't even able to get onto the freeway. I made a crazy decision towards the end. I was trying to go buy another car where I did get on the freeway, and I made it about like 2 miles, and then I had to get back off because I thought the car was about to just completely explode, like a episode of the Flintstones or something, like where the car just falls apart. It was crazy. And so I ended up basically stuck in Huntington Beach for many years. And eventually I end up being transported back to Las Vegas, where I stayed for a little bit over a year with family. then my mother kicked me out once I got a little bit of money because she is a saboteur and a bitch. And the only thing I knew what to do was to come back to the weather. And so I'm basically saying that whole story to say the reason why I came to Southern California is because of the weather. It's a reason why Southern California has the highest population of homeless people in the nation, because it's the best weather. It's the one place on this planet. It's definitely the one place on this continent where you can go and live outside comfortably. Not even southern Florida is a place that is safe to live outside comfortably. It gets too hot, and they do have severe inclement weather. They have hurricanes. They have things like that make it an unbelievably high humidity, that make it not nearly as livable as Southern California. And so I came here basically as a refugee out of necessity. And when I use that word not lightly. My heart really goes out to people who have been pushed out of their home and sent to a foreign land that they did not want to be in. And then came the business of, how do I rebuild a life? I did not even want to be in California. And it's a place that's one of the most expensive places to live on earth. So I knew that I was in a position where I wasn't going to be able to build myself up to like home ownership in Southern California. There's people with 3 jobs that are only still renting in Southern California. I made another video that I'll put out where most of the people who rent, they don't even have a parking spot for their car. So I'm not even in a place that is conducive to like recovery when it comes to financial loss, but it is the one place that has the proper weather, and I was very blessed, and I felt it was a gift to even be able to make it here, because I could have been in Pennsylvania or something, or in in New Orleans, and I don't know what I would have done. Even being in Las Vegas, I mean, the day we left to come here this last time, it was so hot that I didn't even know. I just couldn't wait. I was terrified to be in the car again, but I could not wait to get out of that city and get out of that heat. It was killing me. Even in the house that we were staying in, I was melting. It was so hot. So it was really crazy. And I don't like Southern California necessarily. I stayed here for a little while, for like 3 or 4 months, twice. And I stayed in West Hollywood one time and Westwood one time. And that was okay. It was okay. So it's okay when you live in a house, Southern California, for me. But the people are kind of rude. It's very crowded. It's not a really fun place to be. Other than the weather is absolutely beautiful. And so that is how I ended up here for all these years. And I still can't believe that I look back on this time and I've lived in Southern California for like 6 years. I never even planned to live here at all. And the interesting part is that's kind of funny is that I lived in the beaches. I've lived in like Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, Long Beach, like the nicer place. Well, Long Beach isn't that nice, but like I was able to live by the beach and stuff like that, which is kind of cool, but I was in a car. So that's another one of those things where I talked about in another video where it's like I can never make ends meet. Like, oh, I have beachfront accommodations, but it's a sedan or an SUV. Now, come on now. Let's not play this game with me in the Valley of the Shadow of Death anymore. Anyway, but that is basically it. And now I am working my way back from that. And my main goal, honestly, is to see that the woman who kidnapped or abducted my grandmother pays for what she's done. She's not going to get away with it. My grandmother is still here, and so am I. And she thought, because it was a long time, and because it's very, very difficult to battle back from something like what happened to me. And what she did isn't the only thing that somebody did to mess with my resources. So that was the real biggest problem. However, I don't care. I will never give up, and I will outlive her, and I will see her pay for what she did. And she's not the only one. And until then, I will continue to live a life full of abundance and grace, mercy, and love. And all of that is for me, and none of that is for them. Anyway, okay, that's it. Thank you. Love you. Bye.